Welcome back, everybody, to the Podecito podcast. I am your host, Real 469. Thank you for joining me as we journey episode by episode through our collective favorite show. Of course, I'm talking about the incomparable Las Vegas. We are now on episode 8 of season 2, Don't You Know, which is a continuation from Crossing Jordan's episode 7 of season 4, Don't You Know, and we did an episode on that. You can find it, you can listen to it / watch it on the Patreon. It's a Patreon exclusive. Yes, it is. So join the Patreon and you can listen to it for $1 or more is the pledge goal. Or you can watch it for $5 or more is the pledge goal on Patreon to be able to enjoy that episode. And you should, because the first part of this episode, Two of a Kind aired November 8th of 2004, which was the very night after What Happens in Vegas Dies in Boston, which was the first part, the Crossing Jordan episode. This episode has a rating on IMDb of 7.4 out of 10. It's got a Las Vegas the series rating of 4 out of 5 chips. Las Vegas the series, as you know, is accessible via the Wayback Machine. You may help the Wayback Machine if you can and if you would like. They are doing the Lord's business by preserving what's on the internet and has been scrubbed from the internet for various reasons. And other avenues, like if you tried to look it up without the Wayback Machine, you can't get to that website. You have to do it through the Wayback Machine, and you can see quite a bit of that old website, and that's a treasure to get your hands on. The aggregate score for this rating, or for this episode, is 7.7 out of 10, which makes it a C+ rating. Does my rating match up with that one? I'm not sure. Does yours? You tell me a little bit later on. This episode was directed by Allison Liddy Brown. We've seen Allison Liddy come in and do some directing before, and was written by Michael Burns. We've seen that before as well, which is a different directing and writing team than handled the first part on Crossing Jordan. Let's see if they were able to make the handoff. So as we start the episode, we see the skyline of Las Vegas in the daytime, the beautiful cityscape that it is. And as we do, we are met with our first musical cue. If you're watching on the original version, hey, Surreal, you have the original version? No, I don't have the original version. But if you have the original version, the song you will be listening to is Welcome Back by Mace. That's MA$E. That was a big hit back in 2004. And really, the only real link that it probably has to this, it's got somewhat of a link, because one of our guest stars, we're going to get to that when we get to the one of the guest stars, but also it is a welcome back from Boston to Las Vegas if you were watching the Crossing Jordan episode, so it fits, and it was also a pretty big song back in 2004. If you're watching on the DVD, it's some random production rap underneath it that doesn't mean anything and is fairly meaningless, which is the same thing. I repeated myself. But if you're watching on streaming service, the song that you hear is called Made It to the Top by Universal Publishing Production Music. And that is a good thing for Universal to have, so that things are pretty linear, but there's nothing wrong with Welcome Back. It's a better song. Made It to the Top, it sounds quite generic. It sounds like a production song. And it is, and it doesn't fit with anything. I prefer the Welcome Back track. So as we come into the casino, we see Mary meeting Mike and asking him what he thinks about a girl asking a guy out on a date, which is interesting. We're still on that through line of Mary and Danny's quote-unquote first date. And I say quote-unquote because even though Mary says that, yeah, they've never been on a date, we'll hear more about that a little bit later. But Mike, there's a great exchange here because he says,
for instance, it's okay to say you want to hook up sometimes because then the guy knows he's
gonna get laid.
Yeah, well, there's that,
right?
Which is great. Sure. But I was thinking it's more informal. The word date implies certain connotations which tend to have ill effects on the male species. When a lady asks a guy out, we know she's thinking quiet dinner, slow dancing, holding hands in the moonlight, maybe catch a sunrise, all that romantic stuff. But when a guy asks a lady out, he's thinking,
am I gonna get laid?
Yeah, pretty much.
That was a great exchange. Mike helped Mary out, not at all. So we whoosh through over to VIP services and we see Sam saying what's up to Snoop Dogg as he walks in, and we see Jillian DeLine, the return of Jillian DeLine. My heart flutters every time we see Jillian in the line. And Jillian is asking Sam if their suite is ready. Sam wasn't aware that Ed was at least supposed to get a suite for the DeLines. And so Sam passes the buck of Jillian off to Snoop Dogg to introduce themselves real quick so that Sam can make the phone call to Big Ed. We hear that Snoop Dogg is scouting locations for his new music video, and the DeLines are in the hotel because they're getting their floors finished. And Snoop provides some timely advice.
Might I suggest the walnut finish? It's real classic with the, old world twist on it, but it's strong enough for you and your posse.
Thank you.
Ed, meanwhile, is flabbergasted by all the luggage that Jillian brought with her. But he allows himself to introduce to say what's up to Snoop, the D.O. Double Jizzle. And let's talk about Snoop since he's right here. That is, of course, the D.O. Double Jizzle. He's got a lot of music video credits on his thing, but he actually, aside from or differently from other musical artists that are on this list as guest stars, he's done a lot of acting, actually. The first thing he's credited as is Silky Slim, which is in the Murder Was the Case, the movie video, as segment Doggy Dog World. But okay, that's somewhat kind of a music video. But he was in Half Baked as Scavenger Smoker. A lot of smoking. A lot of weed smoking in his characters, actually. So a lot of them are fairly similar, but you might also recognize him as Huggy Bear in the Starsky and Hutch movie remake. He was in Playmakers with Omar Gooding. He was in Baby Boy. He was in Malibu's Most Wanted. Baby Boy is probably one of the things that got a lot of people noticing Snoop's acting skills. For me, was probably, aside from like the guest appearances he was in, obviously, but Training Day. Training Day is another big one for Snoop in terms of seeing him actually act and be a character. He also did play himself notably in Weeds, which was one of my favorite episodes at the time of that show, and I do enjoy at least the first half of Weeds. He was also in this episode, obviously, of Las Vegas. Mac and Devin Go to High School is another recent sort of semi-hood classic. I don't want to grant it hood classic status just yet. Most recently, he was in Underdogs as well as in the Garfield movie as Maurice, and he's got some stuff in post-production. He's got a lot of different things. He's a cousin of Mercedes Vernado, a.k.a. Sasha Banks, a.k.a. what's her? Monet. Not Sasha Monet. What's her name now? Something Monet. A.k.a. Money. He apparently claims the only person ever outsmoked him was Willie Nelson. I believe that. Old school is better. He's got a apparent IQ of 147 and includes a cover of an older song on every one of his albums, apparently. That is Snoop Dogg. Also, you might recognize he went to Poly High School with Cameron Diaz at the exact same time, and he's a recipient of a couple AVN awards, and if you know what those are, then that's also a Las Vegas connection, actually. That is Snoop D.O. Double G. We've got Ed here saying,
well, I'll catch you later, D.O. Double Jizzle.
And that was a thing that was quite popular in 2004. It crossed over with the super mainstream of everybody doing the jizzles, hizzle, for shizzle, manizzle, bizzle. It wasn't always cool. I'm going to give it to Ed on this one. I'll let Ed still keeps cool points for saying D.O. Double Jizzle. But this was around the time where soccer moms were saying it, and it very quickly lost whatever cool... I never liked it, but it very quickly lost whatever cool points it ever had after soccer moms got a hold of it. I'll keep it with Ed. Ed is still Ed. Big Ed DeLine, James Caan, I get it. Hey, listen, Sonny, don't come after me. I get it. You earned that one, but not too many people can actually get away with it. So Jillian confronts Ed about forgetting to get the floors finished, and he certainly did. And there's a reason for that. She said that she made the reservation 6 months ago. Why do I have to make a reservation that far? You can see the confusion on Ed's face as he's missing the common sense that should be in this conversation. Everything that Jillian is saying makes sense to her, but not quite to him. And he's got a big problem. He's got to figure out exactly where to put Jillian and all her stuff. And she specifically wants the presidential suite. The problem is The hotel is completely overbooked.
And then your boy Danny just gave away our last 2 suites to the relatively hot cop and the bitchy mortician from Boston.
Did you hear that? Reasonably hot cop. That's actually quite the compliment from Sam, especially in a worked up state. So we whoosh down the Vegas Strip into the city of Vegas, out of the casino, back into the sign graveyard, and right back to the standoff. And nothing has changed now. We haven't heard the shots yet, but Pillsbury still has her gun up against Jordan. If you don't know what's happening, you need to go to the Patreon to find out. Danny doesn't have a gun. It's only Woody and Pillsbury who do, but this is a two-way standoff. And Pillsbury basically just wants them to put the gun down so she can try to get away. Woody is not going to let that happen. Too bad. It doesn't matter. There's a shot anyway. Jordan pushes Pillsbury's gun away as she's shocked by the shot, and Danny grabs it. So now it's Woody and Danny going through the sign graveyard trying to find Madeline Pillsbury, but they can't. There's shots all over the place. More than just the cluster of 4 that we heard from the last one, and they're more spaced out. So there's shots all around. Who's shooting who? It seems like the boys are just kind of shooting in the dark here, but Danny and Woody end up coming out, and they end up shooting Madeline Pillsbury's car, or towards Madeline Pillsbury's car, but she definitely gets away.
How do you like Vegas so far?
Kind of reminds me of home.
And we go to the intro now. This right here is the best damn intro in the business. If you are watching this on a streaming service and that streaming service asks you, hey, do you want to skip this intro? Skip the streaming service. Skip it. Skip that streaming service. This is the best damn intro in the business. You sit and you watch this whole thing. Look at the lights. Look at the flashing. Look at the gorgeous people that are on the screen. Best damn intro in the business. You don't skip this. While we're here and we have that break, we might as well talk about who that person that was shooting at our favorite medical examiner, cop, and head of security are. That was Valerie Cruz, who's playing Madeline Pillsbury in this and the Crossing Jordan episode. Valerie Cruz has quite the extensive career. She started out in strong medicine as Almira in 2002. She's got a couple other things, including Grace Santiago as Nip Tuck is probably the thing that she's most known for up until this point. She also starred alongside as Madeline Pillsbury in Crossing Jordan. Madeline Pillsbury here in this episode. She guest starred with Heather Locklear and Blair Underwood in LAX the year after this, which is basically, I think they were trying to do Las Vegas, but in the LAX airport. It didn't work. Her character work isn't entirely this character is a suspect, a murder suspect, man poisoned her husband, etc. It's hard to kind of find the same type of character work from her. She went on to do 11 episodes of Dexter as Sylvia Prado. The most recent thing you can see her in is 2 episodes of Walker Independence as Teresa Davidson. And she also, wait a minute, before we get there, she also did an episode of Magpie, the new Magnum PI. Yes, she did. 10 episodes after that, she did 10 episodes of the new version of Charmed as Marisol Vera. That's probably where those where you could probably see her the most, probably recognize her the most. This character that she's playing here, though, is quite unique. It's quite unique in and of itself. Although she did, hold on, before we move on, she did Chicago Justice as Miranda Sharp with Carl Weathers and former Las Vegas guest star John Setta. She also was in Doubt with Laverne Cox, Dule Hill, Katherine Heigl, and former Las Vegas guest star Elliot Gould as Commissioner Olivia Jimenez. A far stretch from the cookie poisoning gun shooting lady that we see here. So we're back from the intro, and Luis is there with Las Vegas PD, and he is upset that there is a shootout in his city with a medical examiner and a cop from Boston. There is jurisdiction all over the place. Jordan tries to explain that there's a chain of custody issue there, and Danny and Luis have to explain to them exactly what they've been doing with Tommy O'Brien and following the cash.
No, we've been following Tommy O'Brien for weeks.
Yeah, I remember that little story. You never explained why.
Because of his propensity to take his winnings in cash.
That's why we marked it.
Excuse my ignorance about all things Vegas, but is cash no longer considered a legitimate form of currency here?
In casinos, they don't like to pay anything out more than 10 grand in cash. It's a paperwork and IRS thing.
I'm putting out an APB on Madeline Pillsbury. Your suspect's no longer just a suspect. She's a target.
So that is true, the $10,000. I did hear that a long time ago from my pops. So we whoosh into the casino, up the elevator, into the presidential suite. And Sam informs Ed that she had to do a lot of shifting and jostling of whales to get the presidential suite this late in the game. And Jillian informs Ed that she's got something in mind.
I'm gonna slip into something more comfortable.
See ya.
Sam, hold it. Don't go. I need you to stay to keep Jillian company.
Oh, I'm sorry, big guy, but I think your wife has something else in mind.
Yes, she does. And as much as Ed is trying to say that he needs to get back to work and he's got things he needs to do, Sam understands the climate of the room, and she is not going to stick around, nor should she, because very quickly Jillian DeLine is going to come out of the master bedroom and...
It's time to christen the presidential bed. Mr. President.
Wow, that's nice. Honey, it's just the middle of the afternoon. I got a lot of work to do.
Ed is still trying to get away and go back to work? You idiot. Do you see what's in front of you? That is prime time Cheryl Ed. That is Mrs. Jillian DeLine. Are you kidding?
Lighten up, lover.
Oh, well.
Oh,
Oh, well. Oh, God.
No, they... yo, Mr. D, why are you and Mrs. D doing the big nasty in my suite?
That is a good question, Snoop, and one that will be taken care of momentarily. Meanwhile, we're back on the casino floor, and it is the main crew of both shows. We got the Kings of the Podecito alongside Woody and Jordan here, and they're going over the impossibly preposterous scenario involving Madeline Pillsbury, Tommy O'Brien, the money, the drugs, the cookies, the cocaine, and everything. And Mike is tasked with trying to figure it all out.
Well, maybe it was Colonel Mustard with the candlestick in the kitchen. I mean, come on, guys, this is pretty ridiculous. Even by Vegas standards, a whale Sam poached from Caesars dies on a Montecito jet in Boston with $3 million handcuffed to his wrist. Danny and Sam are accused of murder. Obviously, they didn't do it. It turns out to be the dead guy's wife who poisoned him with lace cocaine. She goes to Boston, steals the $3 million, which legally belongs to her. She comes back to Vegas with poisoned cookies?
Chocolate chip.
Poisoned chocolate chip cookies, the $3 million, and a loaded gun, which she doesn't use because someone is shooting at her, or you two, or Danny.
So Ed pops into the Bellicera to try to delegate responsibilities to some of the people here. Ed and or Danny and Mike are going out to try to see if they can track down some information. Basically, they need to try to find Madeline Pillsbury, so they're going to try to circulate some guys to go out by hand and see if they can find it. Jordan is not impressed with Las Vegas, so... but Woody definitely is, and Woody, it feels like he's about to hit the tables. But Jordan has something else in mind.
All right, well, I think being shot at allows us a break. I'm gonna go try my luck in the casino. How about it, Jordan?
No thanks. Actually, I think I'm gonna check out the pool. I hear it's topless.
Whatever turns you on.
So as we see here, this is a good demonstration. And again, this is a good thing for this show. So the whole point of a crossover show is to try to introduce your audience to the audience of another show and maybe cross-pollinate the two shows, right? Or bring the audience from your show over to your show to cross-pollinate. What that does, one of the points of doing that is, or one of the things that was done pretty well in the Crossing Jordan episode, is reintroduction of the characters. Introduction of the characters, not to the core audience, but to somebody who may be coming over, or introducing your audience to the new audience of the new show. So we see here in that very quick scenario, the dynamic between Woody and Jordan, where there's a will they, won't they, there's an on again, off again, there's a flirtation, there's sexual tension, maybe one person isn't aware of it or isn't always aware of it, they're hemming and hawing, going back and forth, and we just saw that there. Woody, you had primetime Jill Hennessy telling you that she wants to go with you to a topless pool, meaning she will probably be topless, meaning she wants to do something other than go gamble. She wants to, she's telling you she wants to show you what is underneath her shirt in an environment that is conducive to that kind of thing. And Woody, being Woody, doesn't get it. Ugh. It's almost disgusting. So Jillian is stalking the floor looking for Ed, and Ed, big bad CIA spy that he is taken to hiding behind this small medical examiner to hide from his wife.
Oh, God. I'm sorry. Don't scream. It's just me.
Yeah.
It's my wife. You just gotta hide me 1 second.
Okay.
And, okay.
This place is just weird.
A little bit, Jordan, a little bit. And we're on the casino floor. Jillian is looking for Ed. The Kings rat him out, and she is quickly on the scent. Meanwhile, Mary is on the floor, and Danny runs into him, or her. Danny runs into her, definitely not him. Danny runs into her, and she invites Danny on their first date. Although Danny doesn't see it that way.
Since we are technically kind of engaged, sorta, and we've never actually been out on a date, and you obviously can't take a hint, I would like to ask you out on a date.
Well, technically, we have been out on a date.
No,
Seventh grade, we went for ice cream.
You took the entire 7th grade class out for ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, remember? You stole all that money from my
did,
father,
that's
and you had to hide the evidence, so he bought ice cream for everybody.
Well, let's go on a date.
Friday night?
Okay. Friday.
Okay.
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 Now that's an interesting little tidbit about their past too. Again, they can't. Again, the thing with her father, Mary's father. Obviously, there's always been tension there. Who knows how long Danny knew about the situation with her and her father? 7th grade, he stole the money from him. So obviously, Danny didn't think very highly of Mr. Connell for obvious reasons. Maybe he knew the reasons, maybe not, but he obviously didn't think very highly of him, and he stole the money from her dad to take the entire 7th grade class out for ice cream. But Danny thinks it was a date. It counted as a date. Well, we'll find out a little bit more why about that later on in the episode. Meanwhile, still on the casino floor, I like this continuous shot, this back and forth ricocheting of the scenes. Jordan runs into Sam, or rather Sam runs into Jordan, and Sam cannot pass up the opportunity to talk trash to Jordan about her outfit.
You're not going to keep wearing that, are you?
What's wrong with it? It's all I got.
Well, I'm sure it's very nice in Boston, but it just doesn't work in Vegas.
It's either this or go naked.
Naked works in Vegas.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Let's let the dealer shuffle the deck for a second, and we'll be right back.
I assume you're interested in large amounts of money.
It's Vegas. Who isn't?
If you like the podcast and you want to help support it, you can send a Cash App, join our Patreon or Subscribe Star, or buy us a coffee. Just search The Podecito on all those platforms. Back in surveillance, Danny tells Mike about Mary asking him out on a date. Mike, of course, already knew because he was tipped by Mary a bit earlier. But Danny seems to be panicking.
You okay?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Because it looks like you're hyperventilating.
Not hyperventilating.
You want to sit down?
Yeah, maybe I should.
Yeah, maybe you should sit down. How are you going to marry the girl if you can't go out on a date?
I don't know. I do know that I love her. I do. Because when I was over there and the bullets were flying, all I could think about was her. But now that I'm back, it's like everything is...
What, you thought you'd get married, move into the house with the white picket fence, and everything would be fine?
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way, my friend. Look, I don't profess to be a psychologist, but I do know a thing or two about psychology.
Of course you do.
Right, and what you're experiencing is a little panic. In this case, brought on by what we in the business like to call cold feet.
No, it doesn't work that way. Also, I think the intensity of being at war, and I talked about this in not Semper Spy, in Always Faithful, which is the English version of Semper Fi, but Always Faithful and the Have You Seen the Rain, about the sort of mentality that's very common in soldiers, certainly the ones that I know. The kind of song in your heart, God on your sleeve, God on your heart, country on your sleeve. You know, I'm gonna go fight the good fight, even though you may not quite understand what the fight you're fighting is. Type soldiers, and that's really what Danny is. He goes out there to fight for his friends, to all that other stuff. And he had Mary in his head at the end there. Not his dad, not his friends, but Mary. And they're very zoned in, and very often with the soldiers, we see it all the time with the divorce rates of the soldiers, and it's not what they think, it's not what their wives think. The difference between going to war and civilian life, and even training in civilian life and training in war and all that other stuff, it all kind of conflicts mentally and emotionally, and it can turn different directions. And I think Danny here is feeling that different direction. That was one thing to be there and have Mary to think about, to live for, so that he, can get out of the situation that he's in. It's another thing to actually, now you're here and things are different and you're not in a war, you're in civilian life. The war that you're going to be in is dealing with catering and RSVPs, right? And is it weddings or is it marriage? And what does marriage look like? Marriage is every day and it's mundane. It's seeing the same person over and over again. Marriage is different than a wedding. Marriage is different than liking somebody, dating somebody, all that other stuff. And Danny's got to deal with that emotion. Now, before he even gets there, he still hasn't even dated her, according to Mary. So what does that look like for them? This is another thing, like, it feels like, I'm glad that they're talking about this. I'm glad that they're exploring this. I feel like they haven't handled it quite as well as they should have or could have throughout the first season and a half. But here we are, and they are dealing with it. And we get to hear Danny say that he loves Mary. Now, mind you, he should have said it in Always Faithful, Daniel. But he's saying it here, and he's saying it to Mike. So he's got to deal, and I'm glad that they're handling this, and it's going to lead to a really sweet moment between the two of them later on in this episode. But Mike here is telling Danny that he thinks that he's basically got cold feet. And yeah, but how cold feet? You haven't even set a date yet. What are we talking about? At this point, marrying Mary is still ethereal. It's still in theory only. Meanwhile, they're going to go back to the case, which is probably a good thing. And we see on the casino floor, Delinda talking to Snoop, because Snoop wants to shoot his new video in a different part of the casino. He wants to do it in surveillance. Delinda is letting him know that Ed is not going to let that happen, which is entirely true. But so Snoop's got to find a different place. Meanwhile, Woody is at the casino, is at the blackjack table, losing a ton. Nessa, of all people, is trying to get him to stop, but he doesn't want to.
Oh, hey, Sam.
Hey.
Do you think I could get a line of credit?
Absolutely.
Great, because I am one hand away from my biggest lucky streak.
No, I've never seen anyone move so fast. He's lost every hand he's played.
Oh.
And when she said that, the smile that crept across Samantha Jane Marquez's face at him losing every hand that he's played is ludicrous. It's very Sam. It's very Sam. And so Sam is more than happy to give him a line of credit.
Oh, don't be so negative. It just means I'm due.
I think the man knows what he's talking about. Please give him his line of credit.
I think the man's gone a little Vegas crazy, but don't mind me.
And Jordan is another practical voice in this. So we got Jordan and Nessa as the voices of reason here. And because Jordan is one of the voices, Sam has to shut her down.
Jordan, go away.
Oh, I can hold some of these for you.
Jordan, stop. Go away, okay?
You heard him. Go away, Jordan.
What was that for? Is that because she wants to see Woody gamble more money to put in her pocket? Is that because she doesn't like Jordan? Is that because she does like Woody? We saw that moment in Crossing Jordan if you didn't go to the Patreon. Or is it a mix of all three? Does she see Jordan as a threat to not financial gain, but to Woody in general? Remember, reasonably hot cop. We're dropping hints here. So Woody is back at the tables. He's got a line of credit. He's got 20, and he still loses. He still loses. He still loses to 21. Now, mind you, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing about that hand. I didn't see anything about insurance. I didn't see anything about insurance. I didn't see anything about insurance. And that they got to do that. Mind you, they got to do the thing quick. But, yeah, he lost because he got the dealer got a blackjack. And that was the end of Woody's winning streak. He still didn't win. And Jordan comes back at Sam.
No.
Come easy go.
You actually enjoy taking people's money, don't you?
I'd really enjoy taking your money.
Maybe.
Sam, girl, calm down. Calm down, Sam. So Nessa comes up with a different idea that maybe it's just he plays a different game. Since obviously, and I think Sam, out of everyone here, now mind you, Jordan is very reasonable in this instance. Woody needs to stop freaking playing. But Sam at least is, or Nessa at least is thinking, maybe try something else other than just this game. And Woody is down to his last $5. They play one of the big wheel games, and he wins a Viper.
Why don't we check out the pool? It's topless.
Jordan, stop touching me, okay? I'm beginning to think you're bad luck.
I'm gonna have to agree with him, Jordan. How much money do you have left, sweetie?
I have, $5.
This is exactly what they want you to do, Woody.
Jordan, stop, okay? Stop. I'm gonna win. I have to.
I just won? What did I just win?
I just want a Viper.
I won this car?
This one.
I won this Viper? Booyah! Woo! Yeah! I just won this car! I just won this car! Who is your daddy?
You arranged for that to happen, didn't you?
That would be against the law.
I won this car!
Now, mind you, keep in mind, remember, in the Crossing Jordan episode, it started with Woody having issues with his car. His car essentially being a jalopy, making all sorts of weird noises. And now, because of that old Vegas magic, that old Montecito magic, Woody just won a car.
What other games can we play?
Well, with this car as collateral, I can give you up to 100,000 in credit, and then we can play whatever game you'd like.
Woody, for the love of God, quit while you're ahead.
Don't listen to her. She's bad luck, remember?
We have to close.
Good. Take her away.
You know what, Jordan? I think my Vegas lucky streak has just begun.
Excuse me,
I'm gonna
miss.
take that credit.
That's my boy!
Oh, Woody. So Sam somehow, she didn't arrange for Woody to win, but she did somehow arrange for Jordan to get dragged away because she's got to figure out the clothes. She's got to get some new clothes. And Woody is unfortunately going to take Sam's advice and use the Viper as collateral to play more games rather than quitting while he's ahead like Jordan told him to. Now, maybe it'll work out for Woody. Maybe. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Woody?
You know what? Please don't call me Woody anymore.
Please refer to me as the Woodman.
So, there was a big thing in the 2000s about the new Jerry O'Connell, about how he was the fat kid from Stand By Me, but now look at him. He's all ripped and shredded. He's a hunk now. He's cool. He's super cool. He's still a geek. He is still a dork. Jerry O'Connell is still a dork. And you can see in his performance of Woody in Crossing Jordan and here on Las Vegas, but I freaking love it. Woody is fantastic. We go back into surveillance, and the Kings are talking about Tommy O'Brien and his shenanigans in the Montecito Hotel. Looks like he's been going in and out of a whole bunch of different suites with a whole bunch of different women that are a whole bunch of not his wife. And they're trying to find out who the suites belong to. It turns out the suites were registered to somebody named Ronnie Sugar. You know him?
3 other couples, all Wells and their wives, except for this old dude. I run a facial on him now.
The old dude's Ronnie Sugar.
You know him?
He's a Vegas mob holdover.
Ronnie's booked another suite for the night.
The surveillance team has got to figure out exactly how they're going to get into that suite with all those sexy people coming in and out of there. Looks like there's some sort of couples, some sort of interactions happening in there. You have to bring a woman with you, and they are looking for a woman to bring, and in walks...
Hey, guys. What do we got?
Well, here's an idea. Miss Jordan.
What?
And in that scene, we hear the line...
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Apparently dies in Boston.
Which, of course, is the title of the Crossing Jordan episode that started this whole thing off. So, we are about to go undercover with our girl, Jordan. Before we do, we hear the song Lay Your Money Down by Bellevue Cadillac on all incarnations, which is a good thing. I love when that happens. Crossing Jordan was much better at that than Las Vegas was in the last episode, but here we are. Now, mind you, they also only used like 3 songs. So maybe that was it, or maybe Crossing Jordan just has better attorneys to get the streaming rights or something, but who knows? But we come back seeing the nighttime scape of Las Vegas. Danny is looking pretty cool except for the shades. The shades look atrocious. Shades look corny on Danny. But Jordan is looking amazing. And they go to the room with Ronnie Sugar. And Danny tells him that he's Steve Crandell. And that Tommy O'Brien sent him. There's a $5,000 entry fee in advance, which adjusted for inflation, that $5,000 translates to $8,464.77. So that's the entry fee just to get into the party. Ronnie Sugar lets them in and also lets them know what the rules of the event are.
5-card draw, nothing wild. Who's putting up the pot?
The new guy will.
Is that okay with you?
Absolutely.
All right, let's play. Ante up. You gotta take off your blouse, honey.
Looks like they're essentially playing a game of, at least to start, strip poker. And the prize is to be determined. While we're sitting here, while we have a moment here, we should talk about Ronnie Sugar. We might as well get him out of the way. He's going to be a bigger part of this episode than you think. Ronnie Sugar is played by an actor named Lou Castle. Lou Castle started his acting career in '94, not long before this, 10 years before, in Dangerous Waters as Howard Burns. He then does an episode of The Pretender. He does 2 episodes of VIP, which keeps coming up in these things. This episode of Las Vegas as Ronnie Sugar, not too much after that. There's 7 years where Lou Castle doesn't do anything. The last thing you could see him in was a short called Arcangelo as Bagnini, or Bagnini. Yeah, Bagnini. Before that, in a full-length thing, he did an episode of Fairly Legal as Ralph Sabatino. Fairly Legal's on Peacock too, with the actress from I think it was the other actress, the actress from Shazam and Person of Interest. She's been in a bunch of things. She's pretty good too. But that's on Peacock. You can check that out. And that's Lou Castle as Ronnie Sugar, and Jordan has to take off her top to feed the pot.
Come on, take it off. Show us your pair of queens.
All right, 5-card draw, nothing wild except you guys.
Give me 3 of those nice ones.
If you lose this hand, I swear, I will kill you slowly.
That may not be up to him, Jordan.
All right, 5.
I'll tell you what, Danny, for a recently engaged man, you are taking a nice long look at our girl Jordan. That sexual tension was still held over from the Crossing Jordan episode, and it's easy to understand why. Both are very attractive young individuals. It's definitely a thing here. So a whale gets, or one of the guys ends up with 3 of a kind, and Danny gets a straight. Of Queen High.
You know, it's not good form to take what you brought in.
Hey, what can I say? I hate to lose. Besides, the old ball and chain's still smoking hot, all right? Nasty in the sack. Nasty.
Ride him, cowboy.
And by the way, that's not wrong. That's for Surreal. How do you know that? Huh? What? But that's what Danny did. Danny is taking Jordan into the room and playing it up a little bit by smacking her on the ass, and she jumps at that. She's not expecting it. They've got 30 minutes in there to do whatever they like, and we go back to the game. Now, what I thought about was what happens in between the rounds of poker. What happens in between the 30 minutes? I didn't see another adjacent room or suite so they can keep playing. Like, are they going to just keep playing strip poker until then? What happens to the other players who don't win the girl to go in there for 30 minutes? Right? Do they just they don't just sit there playing cribbage, you know what I mean? They're not just sitting there playing goldfish for nothing or solitaire while they're waiting. There's something else has to happen in the 30 minutes. 30 minutes is a long time. You know what I mean? Like, so, I think it's probably a big reason why those old parties used to have 7 minutes in heaven, because it was a quicker turnaround. But half hour is a long time to just sit and wait. However, Danny and Jordan go into the room and they're trying to look for basically anything to tie the room to the murder of Tommy O'Brien. Hopefully I guess it would have to be the same room as last time Tommy O'Brien was there. And so they're looking for any kind of evidence of anything, blood or I guess prints, but there would be a lot of prints everywhere. Like, it would have to just be looking for blood fibers, right? Like, there would be prints and DNA all over that place, right? Like, but what that scene does do is allow Danny to spot a camera that's sitting there watching them, and that explains why they get the 30 minutes alone in the room and exactly how, quote-unquote, alone they are in the room. Now, the camera's not exactly well hidden either. So Danny pretty easily spots it. Him and Jordan have to fake getting it on. They have to do away with the light and at least pretend for the next half hour to get into it.
What do you suggest?
I suggest that we make this look very good. Get up. Get up.
Okay.
That's good. That's good.
Good. Yeah, just for the record, though, we're pretending nothing's gonna happen.
Of course we're pretending.
Okay.
Of course we're pretending.
So,
hey, this room cost me like $65.
Oh, sorry.
And again, what this is doing, this is also a little bit of fan service. This is also, crossover with the two. We had the sexual tension between the two of them before, and Crossing Jordan, and I'm hot and she's hot, and we're both hot together, right? That's basically the extent of their chemistry and relationship here. So Jordan rips his shirt off, but she does ask,
what about that girl with the impressive cleavage? Isn't she gonna be jealous?
This is Vegas. You're gonna have to be more specific.
Oh, the one who asked you out.
Oh, Mary. Yeah, we're engaged.
Oh,
we're kind of engaged.
We're kind of engaged. What is that, a Vegas thing?
No, it's more like a you and a Woody thing.
Oh, but we're just friends.
You're right. You're just friends.
Good. I like that. They put that out there. So, first off, we already know Jordan was trying to get Woody into the pool. And again, it's an explanation for the fans of Crossing Jordan who may not be familiar with Las Vegas. Danny and Mary, if you want to draw a similarity, a parallel, it's Woody and Jordan. And fans of Crossing Jordan, if you want to draw a parallel between Danny and Mary and engage in asking out, it's Woody and Jordan, right? You have that cross-pollination. Crossing Jordan fans can relate it to Woody and Jordan. Las Vegas fans can relate it to Mary and Danny, right? Boom. Good explanation, good interaction. Everybody knows what we're doing. Moving on. So we see Ed pull down a Murphy bed from essentially a closet with a pipe in it and everything. Delinda and Jillian explain that it is, quote unquote, the room. Jillian said she thought the room was just a rumor, but no, apparently this exists. This small little bucket room that is, I don't even know. I can't even explain how this room would be built, right? So even if you're building this huge casino, this $1 billion resort with all these different suites and rooms and the different layers and stuff, and let's say you come to a point where you have a little space left over, where somehow your architect, the way you've configured it, we've got a little extra space. This would be a storage closet. I don't think this would be an actual room. This would be a storage closet. Maybe, I don't know what this would be. I don't know why you would build this as a room. Even for somebody who has to like stay overnight, somebody who has to, you would give them a suite, wouldn't you? You wouldn't, it's not like has to be a doctor on call or anything. If there is a doctor on call, he gets a suite. He would get a room. He would get a regular room. Even if it's his lowest rate room, he would get a regular room. He wouldn't get this. So the fact that they even made this a room is just ridiculous. Delinda says that this is worse than, or Jillian says this is worse than the room that they got when Ed went on his fake vacation in Semper Spy.
And that one cost you a trip to Italy.
Oh my. Thanks, Delinda. That cost him a trip to Italy. And we heard that was going to be very costly for Ed, all the shenanigans he had in trying to torture Danny. So Jillian thinks that Ed just wants her to go to another hotel. Ed doesn't, or at least he says he doesn't, but he's like, maybe you would be more comfortable there. Jillian fires back with,
oh, that's okay. No, we'll stay in the room. You want to? We will. And you can unpack.
You are so in trouble.
And that's the worst thing. You don't want her agreeing, you don't want your wife agreeing with you like that. Because that, my friend, means you are in trouble. Speaking of trouble, Woody's back at the table. Woody's back at the card table in a garish, awful shirt. And here's the thing about that shirt. I'm sure I've seen it like on the rack before when I was out shopping around that time, 2004, 2005. I'm sure I've seen guys in shirts like that. That is an awful, awful, awful shirt. And he's at the table playing with Snoop Dogg. But here's the problem. He's losing, but also he's in the driver's seat. We've talked about the driver's seat. Woody is on the end of the table that's closest to the dealer, just before the dealer does what they have to do. Right? Just before the dealer gets the cards they have to get. Snoop knows how to play blackjack, but he's over on the other end. Snoop should be in the driver's seat because Snoop is telling Woody all the things that he's doing wrong, playing blackjack terribly, but he's over in the passenger seat of the bus. He's not driving the bus. He's at the mercy, at the whim of Woody, who doesn't know what he's doing. Now, again, I told you, for me, I very often look to drive the bus. I don't like being adjacent to driving the bus. I like to, generally speaking, I like to be the one before the dealer to kind of, and I'm pretty good at it. I'm the one before the dealer. Like, even if the dealer does beat the table, nobody's like, oh, you play terribly. If the dealer beats the table, it's because the dealer just beat the table, right? If I'm driving the bus, I'm driving it pretty well. I play for myself. I play for the other people on the table. I play for the other people on the table first, because that's how you got to do it. I could sit there and try to get 21 if I want to, but I'm actually trying to get the dealer to bust, right? And I know that as a driver. Woody doesn't know that. I don't even know what he's playing on. He's not even playing on strategy, or I don't know if it's raw emotion, just the charge of being in Vegas. I don't know what he's playing on, but it's not anything smart.
I was feeling lucky.
As opposed to feeling stupid?
Watch it, Snoop. I'm a cop.
Good. But now you can arrest yourself with some dumbass card playing.
But then we see something that I don't think that we rarely ever... Have we ever seen it? We see Sam pull Woody aside and say...
You need to stop.
Why?
Because your luck has run out.
You're secretly in love with me, admit it.
Don't you have a murder mystery to solve, or...
Danny?
And that... Here's the thing, though. That knocks Sam off from even trying to get really trying to get Woody away from the table. She talks about the murder that he needs to solve. You saw the look. Woody he's wrong on the tables. He's right on this one. We see the look that Sam gives Woody, and she's trying to brush it. She doesn't want to fall for that goofball. She doesn't want to fall for him. She doesn't want to do it. No. She's saying no. But that's the Woodman, Sam. That's the Woodman. So Woody doesn't listen to her. He goes back to the tables. He shouldn't go back to the tables, but he does anyway.
Why don't you take a little break?
Yeah, that's a good idea. You go stretch the legs, wash the face, refocus.
There you go.
You're listening to Navy Yards and Naylor Road by Anthony and Joker. If you like what you're hearing, you want to hear it again or hear more, just go to tinyurl.com/ANJoku. That's tinyurl.com/ANJOKU. Danny explains to Ed what they found out in the Ronnie Sugarman's game with the winners, etc., and how Ronnie Sugarman is taping the winners to, I guess, get himself a little bit of a video porn business going on the side, and maybe have some blackmail material.
I think it's time to charm him.
Yeah. I forgot how charming you were.
Yes, you did, Ronnie. As we see this altercation, we hear the song 4-Leaf Clover by Frank and Friends on all incarnations of the episode. So Las Vegas is turning on most cylinders here as far as musical cues are concerned. Ed talks to Ronnie about the party, the O'Brien party participation, and the information that they need, or that Ed needs about Tommy O'Brien's situation. And he lets Sugarman know that Tommy O'Brien is dead. And you could see in this interaction the kind of, not camaraderie, but they know each other. It's almost like a sheepdog and Wile E. Coyote thing, remember from the Looney Tunes cartoons, where they would check in with, they would clock in, and, the coyote would try to steal the sheep, and the sheepdog would beat up the coyote the whole time, and then at the end, the bell would ring, and they would clock out, and they're friends again, sort of like that. So Ronnie Sugarman knew Ed was clocking in to come in and beat some information into him, but they've also known each other or gone back far enough ways that they can have a drink and pause, and it's like, all right, let's cut the crap here, and I'll give you at least some information on this guy, considering he's dead. Let's honor the dead here, and or try to shake the surprise of that news away. So the two old timers sit and they talk about the Tommy O'Brien. Ronnie Sugar gives them the information that O'Brien used to come in with a different hooker, but he called a number for O'Brien to let him know whenever a game was going to happen. Ed gets Danny to check the billing address for the number that he's got for Ronnie Sugar, and he asked Ronnie for the tape for the night. Now, Ronnie still tries to pull one over on him because Ed asked for a tape, and Ronnie Sugar has to explain.
Now, I'm gonna need a videotape from last night.
Videotape? What videotape?
Do not screw with me, Ronnie.
Okay. Technically, it's DVD, all right? DVD. I'll get it for you. Relax.
We see you, Ronnie. You're not slick, and Ed knows you're not slick. So Ed and Danny come to the house of that Ronnie Sugar led them to. Both of them pull up in their these two cars. The Aston Martin. Oh my gosh. Such a slick ass car. Juxtaposed with Danny's car with the yellow, and you could tell the difference. Like Danny's still with the youth, the exuberance, the yellow and the black, and that's cool on that level. Ed's the Aston Martin is classic cool too, though. That's the classic cool, and it's silver. Oh, it's great. The two cars together. That's, if you're a car guy, that's a great shot to look at. Jillian calls Ed, and Ed has to tell Jillian that he's working. He can't talk to her right now. Jillian is slightly upset that she gets hung up on. I can tell you from experience, though, sometimes that does happen. I do remember there was this girl I was seeing years and years and years ago, and she, I've talked about this before, not on this show, but I've talked about this before, where I told her I was going into a meeting about a possible project for a possible online project. I told her this the time before I talked to her, like the day before I talked to her, because she wanted to come over. And I said, well, I got this thing, maybe you come over after. She calls me as I'm heading in, and I told her what time it was. She calls me as I'm heading into the thing and asks me, it says that she needs to talk to me right now. But it's about nothing. She just wanted to hear my voice. All that sweet. But I'm walking into the thing. And you knew that I was walking into the thing at 4 o'clock because I told you 4 o'clock. And we talked about it. I said it would be this time. Why don't you come over at this time? Because I'm doing this first. And I told you what it was. And she called me at 4, whatever time was. And I had to tell her, I'm going into the thing, I have to hang up. Are you hanging up on me? Yes, because I'm walking into the thing and I told you I'm doing that. And I told you I'm hanging up on you. I'm not just slamming the phone down. I told you what I have to do. Same thing here, although Ed is a little bit more just trying to avoid his wife, I think. And he does have a lot on his plate. But also that's prime time Jillian the Lion, man. Like that is... that's hard to say no to, you know what I mean? But Ed gives the sage old wisdom of somebody who's been married for a long time.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Jillian. But 24/7 with anyone, I mean, I don't know.
So they walk up to the house and they meet a nice-looking young lady who they ask about Tommy O'Brien, and she says that she's never heard of him. They show a picture, and it turns out...
You recognize this guy?
Yeah, that's Kevin. He's away on business.
Kevin?
Kevin Wiley, my husband.
We immediately cut to them going to the conference room. We've got the Kings, we've got the Ace, and we've got Luis there as well. And they actually explain the breakdown of Tommy O'Brien / Kevin Wiley and what he's been up to that she may not know about. Now, before we get into that, let's talk about this young lady, the actress who's playing this woman here. The actress's name is Shay Curry. Shay Curry started in One World as Tina for an episode. One World was one of the later TNBC shows. It wasn't bad, actually. The theme song was probably better than anything else on the show, but it wasn't bad. Fast forward, she does an episode of Malcolm in the Middle. She does Lucky Croupier in 2003 for an episode. I've never even heard of that. She does 2 episodes of Days of Our Lives. One is Tina, one is Carla. Why not? Because Las Vegas loves its soap opera actors. Fast forward, she does The Princess Bride 2 as Lady's Maid Bridget, as well as 2 episodes of Las Vegas. Now, you may be asking, Surreal, if you're going over this young actress and she did 2 episodes, does that make her recurring? No, it doesn't. Because the first episode, she was Janine in Donnie We Hardly Knew Ye, episode 3. And I've rewatched that episode a few times, and I think who she was the woman, because they didn't name her, and the IMDb X-ray on Amazon didn't point her out, and there was nobody that came up on like closed captioning as Janine, and the faces were a little bit different. I think she was the girl who came out of the bathroom after Danny was waiting there for Lois to come out and tried to give him her room number, or did give him her room number, and was very flirtatious. She was one of the first ones to tell us that Danny McCoy is the sexiest man in all the sexiest land and the sexiest of all the sexies, right? She was one of the first ones to do that. I believe that was her. And here she plays Janine, or Ann Wiley is who she plays in this particular episode. Fast forward, she does an episode of Nip Tuck. She does an episode, or she does Hancock as one of the reporters, uncredited. The latest thing you can see her in is New Year's Eve as Wendy in the segment Ahern Party in 2011. That was Shay Curry. Shay Curry, a.k.a. Ann Wiley, is going to find out a lot of things about her husband in a short period of time, thanks to these guys basically just spilling all his beans.
So, the reason he was going to Boston all the time on business.
Was because he had a second wife.
And when he was in town, he...
Slept with multiple sex partners that he won in swingers poker games.
He also brought a hooker who posed as his wife to the games.
Andy was rich.
$3 million worth.
That's a lot to throw at somebody in a short period of time. First off, your husband's dead. Secondly, that's not his name. Third, he slept with multiple people behind your back. Fourth, all of them were hookers. 3, he was super rich and you didn't know it. What? Very conflicting information here. And it's a wonder her head doesn't explode. And you wonder why her head doesn't explode. Just at the sound of that news, we will find out a bit later. Ed, in the middle of this, goes back up to his office and he sees Jillian paying bills and just commandeering his desk as if it's hers. Now, mind you, in marriage, half of everything is your partner's, etc. But she's like, no, I'm taking the whole desk. You can take the couch, which I think is a bit of a metaphor here. I think is a bit of a metaphor. But Ed is flabbergasted here at what's going on. Luckily, he's interrupted by Danny. They're interrupted by Danny, so Ed can kind of walk away. And this is a sweet moment here as Jillian asks Danny about Mary and about how they've never been on a date, which doesn't quite make sense to her. And it actually, it didn't make sense to Danny either, and we'll find out why later on. But Danny asks Jillian about the first date with Ed. And here we get a piece of the Deline puzzle.
What was your first day like with Ed?
I was in Europe touring, and he was there on assignment, and he asked me out, and he was so nervous.
Ed was nervous?
He dropped a whole glass of red wine all down the front of these white pants.
Well, Ed DeLine in white pants?
It was just horrible. I couldn't wait for this date to be over. I couldn't wait to get away from him. And Ed, being the gentleman that he always is, he insisted that he walk me home, and so I made this deal with him that I'd let him walk me back to the hotel if I never had to see him again.
Well, how did you guys end up married?
On the way back, he saw this gondola, and he grabbed my hand and took me on a gondola ride. It was a spur-of-the-moment thing, and I fell in love with him.
The gondola ride. Remember the gondola ride? Now, mind you, we don't know all that happened in the gondola. She just said that Ed took her on a gondola ride, and that puts together the piece of the puzzle in the first episode in the club or in the restaurant where they talk about the gondola ride. If you ever want to go on another gondola ride, Eddie. And I think it comes up once or twice in other flirtations with the DeLines as well, does the gondola ride. But oh, that is so sweet. That's so sweet, and it puts together the puzzle. Also, what it does is it ties in the bickering between them, the back and forth about the room and the floors and the stuff this episode, right? Like they can have this acrimonious, this issue between them. And it's a small issue, but it's certainly an issue between them. One that is I guess would be a C plot of this episode, C or D. We got a lot of different plots running in this episode. It's not the A plot, but it's one of the lesser plots in this episode. But it's a through line, and you can still feel the love between them. Like, yeah, Ed is trying to avoid her, but he's trying to avoid her because he's trying to get work done. He's trying to do other things and he can't devote the time to Jillian that she wants from him right now. Not needs really, but wants from him right now. And Ed brings in Delinda as sort of a backstop here, and he tells her to take Jillian shopping, and Delinda is still on Mom's side. Delinda is still saying, no, she'll just come from right there. She's basically trying to goad Jillian into winning. She's against Dad in this one. She's against Ed. But Ed says, look, here, take this money, take your mom shopping. I'll deal with Snoop Dogg. And he hands her quite a few $100 bills. Quite a few $100 bills to go shopping. And Jillian's like, all right, fine, I'll go shopping. And then immediately Jane jetsons his wallet away from him.
You have fun, Eddie.
Oh, I will.
Hey, you took my wallet like a piranha.
Now, what I'm also noticing here in the last couple of episodes, including this one, is that Ed's desk has changed, so we don't get that same picture of Jillian, at least on his desk, that we've seen, or Delinda. We actually see a picture of Delinda and Nessa on his desk, which is a sweet shot. Mike comes in. They go over the gunshots that were fired off in the sign graveyard, and Ed immediately knows off of the markings that was the sample from Luis, because he had a dealing with that type of gun with Ronnie Sugar, which traces the gun back to him. So was Ronnie Sugar the one that was shooting at everybody in the sign graveyard? Luis and company break into Ronnie's house alongside Danny and Ed. We do see a good CG picture of Ronnie Sugar in front of one of the old casinos in Vegas. Again, good job by the production crew. But we also see Ronnie Sugar, what happened to him.
He made a career out of showing up after the last bullet was fired.
Looks like he showed up early this time.
That's the end of Ronnie Sugar. We come back into the casino. Mike and Jordan are talking about the autopsy reports for Ronnie Sugar. Ronnie Sugar wasn't shot. He was poisoned by the cookies in his stomach. He died before he hit the pool. So the poison that was in the cookies are found in Ronnie Sugar. So whoever, and we all know that Madeline Pillsbury was the one, at least you should know if you followed the Crossing Jordan episode, that Madeline Pillsbury was the one that poisoned the cookies. Aside from that, he was force-fed the cookies. He had bruises on his jaw to show that he didn't just like, oh, here's a 10 of cookies, I'm going to eat them all. No, they were shoved down his throat. So somebody was trying to get rid of Sugar.
Let me guess, poison cookies in the stomach.
Enough sodium fluoracetate in the system to kill every retired mobster in Clark County.
My mom always said you shouldn't swim after you eat.
Oh, bruises on his mandible and mastoid.
Which means someone force-fed him the cookies.
Enough bad. Death by cookie, it's a new one even for me.
That's Vegas, doll.
Woody again is begged to stop playing because he continues to lose, and Samantha is
Woody, if you don't stop gambling, I'm
being
gonna break
very
your legs.
anti-Sam.
You people still do that here?
The casino doesn't, but I still enjoy it. Listen,
You just want to get me alone, don't you?
And Sam again pauses at that one, but she does still tell Woody that he needs to go solve a murder, get off the tables, and his luck is killing him right now. She says, "Don't gamble when you're feeling lucky. Gamble when you're feeling really lucky." That is a good sense. You definitely do have to feel it. You definitely do have to feel a zone of some kind, or at least you should feel a zone of some kind. I know there's been a couple times where I gambled when I wasn't necessarily feeling lucky. Sometimes it was just a time thing. It was like, okay, we're about to get out of here. Let me try to do a little something, or there's a game I wanted to play but didn't get to in the time that we were there. That's why I personally think 4 days in Vegas is about right. 4 days to a week in Vegas is about right. All my friends are like, 2 days, 3 days. Like, that's not quite enough because, you're chilling some of the time, right? You want to go there's a lot of stuff to do. You want to chill by the pool. You want to eat. You want to see shows. And you want to gamble, right? There's stuff you can do, or at least back then. I don't know what it's like now. But yeah. And Sam is met with Nessa, who is surprised that Sam, of all people, would tell somebody to get off the tables and stop gambling.
Are you feeling okay?
I'm fine. Why?
You just told a client to stop gambling.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. I saw it with my own eyes.
Would you like to keep it on the DL, please? I feel sorry for him. He's a civil servant.
Yeah, he's also cute and funny. I think there's a soft spot to Samantha Jane Marquez's heart after all.
Possible.
Why is that?
I have no heart.
Sam tried to convince Nessa of that, but she didn't convince me. If Sam has a heart, and Woody got to it, right? We talked about the prickliness of Sam and all that other stuff. I think Woody is so naive and dorkish that he doesn't even see that he's in danger. He has no clue about the prickliness, the shell, the clam-like shell that snaps shut around Samantha Jane Marquez's heart. He has no clue about it. He just sees her, and he just shoots it out there like, you're hot for me, aren't you? You think I'm cute, don't you? And she does, and it works. It works. And remember the arc that I told you. Remember with Bernie, and I told you that Sam was about to start going on a different arc in terms of her character, and we're starting to see some of that here. And it has to do with romantic interest for Sam. It has to do with love, right? And Woody is one of the first catalysts of that. We've seen the prickliness the last few episodes. We're seeing a bit more of the softer side of Sam here, and that's going to continue very shortly. Like, it's not going to take long. We're going to get to more of the softer side of Sam as we keep going here in the series. Ed is sitting down in his office with the floor guy, who is taking entirely too long to, as far as Ed is concerned, to refinish the floors. The guy says that he's an artist.
I don't just do floors. I touch them. I caress them. I let them speak to me.
I really don't want you to date my floors. I'd like you to sand them and get the hell out of my house.
So the guy is trying to be very pretentious. And here's the thing. The pretentiousness is what sold Jillian on this guy and the floors. It's the story behind all of this. And it's interesting because that's what Vegas, at least back then, was. It was all about you're buying a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily worth the money. You know what I mean? You're buying the story. Art is very much the same way. If there's a story behind a painting, then it makes it more valuable than just the painting itself. Because sometimes the painting is just random lines on a canvas, and you could try to configure your way into its meaning and life and love and the cosmos and the universe and all this other stuff. Sometimes it's just paint on a canvas. This guy is just sanding and finishing floors, but he's selling the dream, and that's what he's selling the story, and that's what makes him in that pretentious realm, so that he has the multi-million-dollar clientele that he does. He actually starts listing them off.
Danny Greenspan, Green Valley Ranch, he's been living in his casino for 2 months, waiting for me to finish his Brazilian teak. George Maloof has been camping out at the Palms while I buff out his ivory maple. And Glenn Schaefer's staying at the hotel at Mandalay until I'm done with his Amazon oak. So, Eddie baby, Edster, you're gonna wait your turn just like everybody else.
Now, who is this guy who's got the guts to talk to Ed like this? Ed like this. You've seen this guy before. The actor's name is Lee Ehrenberg. You have seen him in a bunch of stuff. And he's usually playing, I don't want to say quirky. He's usually playing off-kilter guy. He's usually playing like a very much toned down version, but still in the same general vein of a character, like a character who's usually on edge, right? In a sort of, he's very often playing like an angry, smaller guy. He's very often playing a off-kilter. Off-kilter is like the best way to talk about many of the characters that you've seen him play. His first role was with Annette O'Toole and Martin Short in Cross My Heart as a parking attendant in '87. He did 2 episodes of Perfect Strangers as Leon back in '87. Fast forward, he does things like Class of 1999, which is interesting. Night Court for 2 episodes, which makes sense because Night Court had a lot of quirky, off-kilter characters. He did Melrose Place for an episode, and why not? Because, you know, Las Vegas loves its soap opera actors. He did something with Bobcat Goldthwait, Mr. T, Randy Quaid, and Alex Winter. It's called Freak. He was the Eternal Flame. He was the hold-up man in RoboCop 3. He did an episode of Married with Children, which is where I first recognized him because Married with Children used to play all the time. He did 2 episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation. He did Nash Bridges. A lot of you might have recognized him as Mike Moffat from Seinfeld for 2 episodes. He did ER for an episode, Friends. Fast forward, he did 4 episodes of Arliss. He did 9 episodes of Action as Bobby G. Action starring Jay Moore. He was in Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. He did Scrubs as Dr. Moyer. He does this episode of Las Vegas. Fast forward, he does a couple more Star Trek episodes. He does Californication for 3 episodes in 2013 as Ken. The most recent thing you can see him in, aside from a short, is Bloody Fury. That's another short. The most recent thing you can see him in, aside from shorts, is 1066 as Robert Champart of Jumegas, which is interesting. I don't think I've ever heard that. In 2023, he's got a bunch of stuff in post-production right now. That's Lee Ehrenberg. You've seen his face. You've seen him in a bunch of stuff. A lot of TV work in the 90s. You've probably seen him in, and he is just not popping off to Ed, but he's outright mocking Ed, and you could see the off kilter. You could see the edge in him at that moment. You can also see the edge in Ed. I've never seen Ed just snap like that. Ed, the fact that Greg is there to take away the floor wax guy, I think is one of the only things that saves the floor wax guy, aside from Jillian coming in to the office and seeing Ed literally choke the guy out, or try to choke the guy out. That feels like it was a filler scene. Like, that feels like they wanted Ed to do an intimidating thing to the floor guy, and they wrote it in and they never changed it. To me, I tone that down because, yes, we've seen Ed get physical, but we've never seen Ed get physical like this with somebody for reasons like this. You know what I mean? Like, we just saw him smash somebody against a wall or something like that. Like, that would be fine. Grab him by the collar if you want to. Okay, fine. Ed straight up goes to strangle the guy. Ed straight up, hands on throat, trying to squeeze the life out of the floor guy, with his security guy standing right there, not doing anything about it. Hold on a second. Let's get a new deck in here, and we'll be right back. If you're ready to find your fitness family focused on being knowledgeable, being open-hearted, getting results, and having an elevated experience, then you're ready for KORE. That's Core Nutrition Fitness. The NASM certified personal trainers at Core cater to all fitness levels, ages, and body types. Whether it's the Gluteus Maximus and Queen Camp classes for the ladies, or the Minute Monday weight training for everyone. If you're in the Los Angeles area and ready to build better health and great friendships, the Core Fitness family is the place for you. Go to CoreNutritionFitness.com now for details. That's KORE NutritionFitness.com. Anyway, we go down to the floor, and Delinda is talking to Snoop. Snoop wants to then shoot his video, since surveillance isn't going to work, on the casino floor. And Delinda says that Ed would never allow that to happen. Now, here's the thing. Why not? Ed allowed for filming to happen in the casino of Die Fast, Die Furious on the casino floor, in the casino, while it's in operation, which is 24 hours anyway, but while it's in operation. Why wouldn't he allow Snoop Dogg a couple of tables to film his music video? What would be the point of that? So Delinda is saying that that's not going to happen. Snoop is still trying to have that happen, and Delinda needs a sip from Snoop's chalice to even fathom his pimp cup, to even fathom the idea. Now, the pimp cup is another thing that became popular because of Snoop in 2000s, and there were very cheap versions of it that popped up all over the place, and a lot of people had them and thought that they were cool, and they weren't, because they were cheap versions. Like, they were cheap plastic $2 versions. That's why they weren't cool. But people had them with the bedazzles on them and stuff, and people probably still have them to this day, but they weren't cool because they look cheap, and Snoops doesn't look cheap. That's the difference. We go into the conference room. Mike is going to try to break down, or he thinks he's got it figured out. Remember, Mike so far in this season, since he's come up to surveillance, has been pretty spot on with his assertions of what's been going on. He's been ahead of Danny sometimes. He's been ahead of the curve on a lot of stuff. So I give Mike all the credit in the world and the belief that he knows exactly what's happening here. So he's got Danny, he's got Luis in the conference room, and he's trying to break down all the things that happen. The problem is, it's still too complicated for him.
So, Ronnie runs a swingers poker game, of which he takes 20% commission off the top. He also videotapes the winners so he can dabble in mail-order porn and blackmail, which is what he does to Tommy O'Brien, who carries multiple IDs and a ton of cash because he's married to multiple women, one of whom is Madeline Pillsbury, our girl, who also has multiple IDs because she's a con artist, a thief, and worried she stands to lose millions if Tommy dies and her marriage is ruled illegal because Tommy is already married to Ann Wiley. So, Madeline flies to Vegas, poisons her husband, steals his money back in Boston, promptly returns to Vegas to lure Ronnie into a junkyard in order to finish him because Ronnie knows about both wives. But you all showed up. And Ronnie, armed with a gun, opens fire hoping to kill Madeline, who escapes in the melee, only to return to Ronnie's house and force feed him those dreaded poisonous chocolate chip cookies until he dies.
Looks like an Etch-a-Sketch on acid to me.
He actually didn't figure it out. And they expose him here. And they actually expose him as opposed to Danny just trying to brush him off. They bring up some pretty big plot holes in Mike's assertion.
It still doesn't explain why Madeline would bake poison cookies if she intended on shooting Ronnie.
Yeah, and how would Madeline know that Ronnie had guns in his house?
Why would Ronnie think of taking a gun to the junkyard if he's never used one before?
Okay, maybe it was Professor Plum with the wrench in the billiard room.
Hey. So Mitch comes into the conference room with Mitch and that terrible caterpillar on the top of his lip. Come into the conference room to because they finally got pictures of the fashion center from the last place that they were able to track Madeline Pillsbury. And we get our crews all together on this one. It's the Crossing Jordan crew. Woody finally is in surveillance. He's finally off the tables with the minimal amount of chips that he has. And they're all impressed with the surveillance equipment that the Montecito has.
Computers plot out the dimensions, colors, and textures of each photo and then stitch together the images into a three-dimensional quilt.
Now we know what to get Nigel for Christmas.
And we see there on the digitally altered foot. This is super digitally like there is no way, shape, or form in 2004 they had the technology to do all this. You just gotta believe in the magic. Because this is fake and fraudulent as F. There's no way they get the footage. There's no way they get not even footage. There's no way they get the angles, especially the lower angles that you can see. There's no way, shape, or form. But we're pretending that they do. And in the footage that we see that Madeline Pillsbury gets the gun information and gets the gun and hands it off to Ann Wiley, who's not the innocent, besought upon housewife who didn't know that her husband was doing all this that we saw in the conference room. She obviously did know. And Danny and Jordan are in the front of surveillance and they take in what they see there.
She and Madeline must have planned the whole thing.
I'll bet neither one of them was his first wife.
Which means neither of them was entitled to his money. You know what? I think we should solve this case.
Huh. Was it as good for you as it was for me?
Maybe better.
Oh, and Mary saw it. What does that mean for Danny and Mary? Now, here's the thing, Mary. She sees the chemistry between them, and I think that's all she sees. To me, she's still taking it. That's still her man. That's still her man, but she saw it, and I think that's the difference here. So we whoosh through to the back door of Miss Shea's house this time, through the city landscape, and the Kings walk in, and apparently Ann Wiley took off pretty quick. The questioning spooked her. She knew she was taking off, and that's exactly what she did. In the midst of it, she left scribbling note about airport on one of the pieces of paper there in the house, one of the envelopes there in the house. She just jotted down super quick, didn't throw it away, and didn't take it with her. And that, I think, is going to be the issue here.
What? VGT-CYB.
VGT is the airport code for
North Las Vegas International Airport. I know.
Oh, I just thought you might have thought it was a password or something.
No.
No.
Hey, Ed, it's Danny. Listen, I need a flight itinerary for all private jets headed out of the North Las Vegas airport to the Gerard Smith International.
You knew that too? That's you.
Okay. You know, Mike, you're not the only one that knows that CYB is the Grand Cayman.
Well, did you also know it was a popular destination for whales?
For whales, we had a big weekend at the tables. Yeah, I know.
It looks like the two wives are going to the Cayman Islands, which is a nice place to deposit money because the government has a hard time getting to it. And we cut back into or outside of the airport, North Las Vegas airport to be exact, and we see the two wives coming through. Looking at the two wives coming in, I do think that was Ann Wiley, a.k.a. Shay Curry, was the girl that was flirting with Danny outside the bathroom in Donnie, We Hardly Knew You. So they go walk up to their private jet, and their pilot is Danny McCoy.
So where are we going? Hold it right there.
We'll pass on the cookies.
And that's the end of that tale. When it comes to the poisonous wives, they got caught. So Ed is delighted to tell Jillian that the floors are done. She can go back home. Jillian was about to go to the spa. Nope, you can go back home. He didn't have to kill anybody. He didn't have to break any limbs. He was about to at least kill somebody. He looked very close to actually killing. Here's the thing about that. They could have made that almost it's almost felt like a dream sequence. It was, for lack of a better phrase, or the perfect phrase actually, it was surreal to watch Ed do that, to watch Ed choke the floor guy. But that's what we saw. But no, Ed just had to come up with something that would get the job done faster. And we cut to Snoop Dogg in Mystique doing Drop It Like It's Hot, featuring the floor guy live at the Montecito. We get the credits on the music video for that, which are all true. Rhythm and Gangster was the album that this was on, etc. Now, here's the thing about that. So Snoop was doing all that just to end up doing his music video in the club in Mystique. Man, that's whack. That's baloney. That's bullshit. That's terrible. He shouldn't have. He settled on that. That's a whack compromise. He didn't even go to Ed. Forget talking to Linda. He needed to actually talk to Ed or talk to somebody. Talk to Sam. He's somebody. DeLinda wasn't going to be the one. You know, he did it in Mystique, and that's fine and all, but he could have done that in any club anywhere. He didn't have to travel to Las Vegas for that. That feels like a whack compromise. That feels like a whack compromise to me. Also, as one would expect, this is on all versions. And inside the music video, we get to see the floor guy dancing in a cage. Really, like, it's just the corniest dance on the stage. But Danny is in the club with Jordan, and they're dancing, and Jordan's dancing. Danny's not dancing. Somebody told Danny, or somebody told Josh, don't dance. somebody told him just stand there and nod your head a little. But Jordan and Danny say their goodbyes, and clearly they're friends. You know, they started as acrimonious, but you're not so bad for a murder suspect. And Jordan starts to take off. We shoot through the rest of the club, and we see Woody and Sam one more time. And this is heartbreaking here. So Woody signed for markers of $93,000, and he is left with $20,000. He is short $73,000. So the $93,000 marker that Woody took out translates in today's money as $157,444.72. He's only got $20,000 left, which translates to $33,850 $59.08. And Sam asks for the Viper, the keys to the Viper, and then tells him that the IRS is going to want to tax that as well.
Drop it like it's hot. When the pigs try to get you, park it like
No.
it's hot.
Woody.
No.
Woody.
No, Sam, please, no.
It'll cover
Sam,
it.
please, let me keep the Viper.
Pop it like it's hot. Pop it like it's hot. I got the rollie on my arm and I'm pouring.
That's fine. You do realize that the IRS is going to want taxes on the car.
Great. So I'm going to have to work 2 months of overtime to pay for a car I will never drive.
I'll see you later.
Yeah, Woody, yeah. So according to IMDb, and this one might be true, factual errors, it says at the end, after Sam informs Woody that the IRS will want taxes on the Viper he won, he says, so I have to work 2 months of overtime to pay for a car I'll never drive. Fortunately for Woody, the IRS lets you deduct any gambling losses from gambling winnings. So the $93,000 he lost should negate, now he didn't lose 93, he took out the marker for 93, he lost 73. But, okay. He lost the 73 he lost should negate most of the value of the Viper, and he won't actually owe the IRS much additional taxes, if any at all. Okay, that actually might be true, or at least most of that is true. Sam immediately tries to take off, but Woody says,
Oh! I'm not leaving Vegas empty-handed.
So you wanna pop back? AK-47 now, stop that. Cement shoes, now I'm on the move. Family's come, now you on the news. They can't find you, and now they miss you. Must I remind you, I'm only here to twist you.
So, I guess I'll be seeing you.
Whatever. Music we click to. Subscribe, get your issue. Baby, come close, let me see how you get low. When the pimp's in the crib, mom, drop it like it's hot.
yeah, Woody's a dork. Woody's definitely a dork. But I'm telling you, Sam is falling. Sam fell for that dorky guy. Yeah, whatever. Okay, Sam, you got to go get yourself adjusted after that. You know you felt something for the Woodman. You know you did. So Woody meets back up with Jordan, and they're enjoying and dancing to Snoop Dogg, and Woody's about to take off. Jordan wants to actually sit there and enjoy the party, but Woody's the one that drags her off this time. Mary meets back up with Danny, and the two of them go off on their date. As they do, we go into the office where Ed is watching the festivities in Mystique, and Jillian comes in just a trench coat. Now, remember that girl I told you I had to get off the phone with real quick, and she refused to understand that. That's the girl that also showed up to my place in just a trench coat. And there's lots of parallels in this episode with me actually. And Jillian shows up in a trench coat.
I see you've taken over your desk.
I'm sorry, honey. I just assumed you were through with it, aren't you?
Not quite.
Oh, look, Jill. I got a lot of work to do. I really do.
All work and no play makes the president a very dull boy.
Oh, man.
So as that scene happens, we hear our last musical cue of the show as the DeLines christen the president's office. The musical cue, if you're watching on the original or the DVD, is Over the Rainbow by Johnny Mathis and Ray Charles. If you're watching on streaming service, it's some AI song, and it's definitely an AI song. The way it ends, the lyrics, if you pay attention to them, they're nonsensical. It's an AI song that's built to sound like Over the Rainbow. I can kind of understand Over the Rainbow is probably an expensive song. I don't know why they would put it there in the front. I like the song. It's not necessary in this end scene. I feel like there's probably another song that's more necessary. There's no rainbow involved in this. There's been no allegory with the Wizard of Oz or anything like that, other than maybe the Vegas crew is back home or something like that. But that's not. That's super reaching. Like you start the episode with "Welcome Back," as in "Welcome Back to Las Vegas" from Boston. You end with "Somewhere over the rainbow" after coming home from Oz or something like that. It's a weird, it's a weird musical choice. You didn't need to spend the money on it, I don't think. And if you're going to spend the money on it, there's a different song you could play. There are other probably songs you could play. Maybe they didn't have the time for it, but I like the song itself. Its use, meh. So we come to Danny and Mary atop a rooftop, and I'm not sure exactly where they are. It might be the rooftop at the Montecito, but they're just sitting on a bench and they're looking at, they're on their ice cream date and they're looking at the strip, and it's a great scene. You see a lot of stuff's happening. And again, in this short scene, you get to see the talent that Nikki Cox had here. Danny tells Mary about the undercover sting he had to go on with Jordan, and she understandably, very sweetly lets him know that she knew about it. And the very next shot is a great shot.
I had to kind of go undercover with that Jordan Kavanaugh from Boston.
I heard.
Nothing happened.
I know.
I love that shot and I love this scene because it's, you almost, the way Nikki's sitting, it almost feels like they're back in 7th grade. It feels like they're back on their 7th grade date. And they're having a conversation that one would have then, or on a first date as an adult. I've had some silly ass conversations on a first date as an adult, and you can see the rapport that they have here. You can see it's a cute little scene there where Danny puts the ice cream on her nose and right on her cute little button nose and wipes it off of her. She's so adorable. She's so adorable here, and they're just enjoying each other's company. And this is that. I mean, that's what marriage is everyday mundane nonsense. It's not extravagant dates all the time. It's everyday stuff. It's taking a moment with your partner. You know what I mean? And that's what they're doing here. Is they're just taking a moment with each other. And we get an explanation on the first date, as Danny says,
You know, Mary, when we all went for ice cream back in the 7th grade, the whole class might have been there, but the only person that I saw was you.
Boom. That's why Danny thought it was a date. Because it's one of those things that, yeah, as a 7th grader, 12, 13-year-old, you might get flustered. Something might have happened. You invite everybody. You wanted to only invite her. Somebody whatever the circumstances were that everybody else had to come. The whole reason for it was for you to talk with Mary. The whole reason for it was for you to spend time with Mary. And he knew that. She didn't maybe understand it that way, but he understood it that way. That's where it originally came from in the first place. And that's why he thought it was a date, even if she didn't. And this is before, or at least may not have even been before. It was before the resurgence of, because they would have been in the early 90s. It was before the resurgence of the quote unquote group dates that became popular in the late 90s. It was before that resurgence. So that's not what he was thinking. He was thinking of just Mary. Isn't that adorable? Isn't that sweet? They belong together. And so they sit there and they just enjoy the night sky, and she cuddles up next to and lays her head on the shoulder of her man. That is her man, and they are enjoying each other's company, and that is a sweet, sweet way to end the episode.
So is this a date?
Yeah, I think so. Not a very expensive date.
Why, then, oh, why can't I?
So sweet. That episode of Las Vegas, at least the ending, that episode of Las Vegas. The episode itself was good. I liked the episode. What did everybody else rate it? The aggregate rating was 7.7, a C+. That actually feels about right-ish. I want to take a point off for Ed choking the floor guy. I want to take a point off for Snoop having to settle for Mystique instead of actually being able to shoot in the casino. But I did like, we got the sweetness with the explanation of the gondola. We got the sweetness at the end with Mary and Danny. It was good as a crossover episode for explaining Crossing Jordan, a little bit of Crossing Jordan to Las Vegas fans and Las Vegas to Crossing Jordan fans. The plot got convoluted in it, but they acknowledged that the plot got convoluted. That's still not an excuse, but they did acknowledge that the plot was convoluted. They did it twice, actually, both with Mike, explaining that the plot got convoluted a bit. In terms of everybody getting to play, yeah, sure, but not really, but also you had to make room for the extra plot line. So it's understandable here why Nessa and Delinda were pushed a little bit into the background. Because remember, I was telling you, we had all these different plots happening. We had the murder plot, we had the Jordan and Woody, and Jordan and Danny, we had Jillian and Ed, we had Snoop Dogg, we had all these different plots basically fighting for time here in the episode, and it came together and convalesced in a good way. But I would say 7.7 is about right on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm not necessarily looking at the grade. If you're looking at the grade, you can. But I would say that's about right. That's about right for this episode. It's not a bad episode. I do like this episode, but we did get to see Woody. Man, Woody is fantastic. And we got to see this. It's not even the start. The start of Woody and Sam is in Crossing Jordan. But we got to see that come to fruition here, or at least the start of the fruition here. I like it. I like a lot of the episode. But I do feel like it had a lot to juggle. It did it well enough so that it's not a bad episode, but it's not one of my favorite episodes. You know what I mean? It does a lot. I do like the Crossing Jordan. Again, I do love the Woody episodes. We're going to see another more Woody-centric episode later that I really, really like. But I would say that's about right in terms of rating. For me, my rating doesn't matter. Your rating is what matters. So I want you to tell me what you think about this episode in the comments. I want you to share this episode. I want you to put this out to as many people as possible if you can. Let me know what you think about this on all the socials media. I check those on a regular basis. Like I said, if you want to be able to support the show, share it with as many people as possible. That's the best way to do it. If you are monetarily inclined to support the show, fantastic. We have stuff like the bonus features with the Crossing Jordan episode. We have other bonus features coming up as well. There's another Crossing Jordan episode that's going to be coming up, I think, in the next couple of seasons, next season, I think. And that's another Patreon exclusive. You're going to need to do that. Rumble in the Montecito is going to be another Patreon exclusive when we get to that part where it actually comes up in the season as well. And there are different tiers that come with different prizes, and that is very helpful because that will allow me more time and more help to produce more stuff for the Podecito, and that's my ultimate goal, really, is to produce more stuff for the Podecito, which is you. You are the Podecito. Next week, we have the return of Alec Baldwin in Degas Away With It, or Degas Away With It. Oh, I always read it as Degas. Degas Away With It. It's the return of Alec Baldwin, which is another fun episode as well. That's another fun one. I can automatically tell you right now, that's going to be terrific. It's rated about the same on IMDb, actually, which is weird, just taking a look at it. But that's going to be another fun episode next week. In the meantime, in between time, thank you for joining me here on this journey. It's been quite the journey here so far with these two episodes back to back. But I appreciate you for joining and coming along with us. Until next time, please remember, take care.